This is TeaYAKA with my faculty alumni. With us, now we are having Sis Mavis Shibambu and Sis Tembi Ramacuela, who are both occupying senior positions within the pharmacy fraternity and optometry at the Mankweng Hospital. With us, Sis Tembi, with us, Sis Mavis, are the students from the Faculty of Health Sciences. From the Faculty of Health Sciences, we are having the School of Medicine, the School of Healthcare Sciences, and you fall under the School of Healthcare Sciences. When we give you the opportunity to talk, Sis Mavis, you are going to start by introducing yourself, your current occupation, what you've occupied and done in the past, and your journey as a student, and how you also journeyed after becoming or joining the alumni fraternity of the University of Limpopo. And after your presentation, we will receive, or your talk, we will receive a talk from Sis Tembi. After Sis Tembi's talk, then we will have students asking questions. We might take three questions for each one of you, depending on how it fares. Is that okay? To the participating audience, which is our students, good afternoon. Are you well? Okay, thank you. TeaYAKA with my faculty alumni, Faculty of Health Sciences, the School of Medicine, School of Healthcare Sciences. With us, or my co-presenter is Miriam Maboja, the chairperson from the SRC Gender Health and Wellness, who is going to give a short background on today's event. Thank you.
Thank you, Saskihile. As indicated, pardon me, let me first say good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to Sis Mavis and Tembi. My name is Miriam Maboja, as indicated. I am the former Deputy President of SRC University of Limpopo 2020 and 2021, the current chairperson of Gender Health and Wellness SRC 2021-2022. And then as the SRC, we came with a theme called TeaYAKA with my faculty alumni. The reason for the reason behind the concept was that we give our student an inside info of what happens within their chosen careers. Unlike other faculties, Faculty of Health Sciences, it's not by default that students find themselves in the faculty. It is by choice. So what we are trying to do is that we try to impart some sort of encouragement and confidence in our students so that they know what to do when they are done with their studies. Thank you.
Sis Mavis, we initially said to you, we were only going to have women students. We are happily also are joined by the male students of the faculty. Welcome to the male students of the faculty. They are on the shy side in front of us. If you are ready, please give us your honest journey from when you started to when you completed, how you swam or tried to swim with the sharks, or are they fish, or are they whatever school of fish, or whatever it is that you are swimming with, in order to see yourself or where you are today. Over to you, Sis Mavis.
Wow. Thank you, Sis Gloria, and the members of SRC and the students. I see that when I saw the students as male, as I was told that we'll have female students, I thought there were females wearing scrubs. Eh? Welcome and thank you very much. It is an honor for me to be here. As you have said, my journey, I am going to introduce myself first by saying I am Mavis Shibambu, and I've started this journey of being a pharmacist by profession. Just by, I was able to listen to a radio while seated at home in my village, listening to one of the lecturer, Mr. Falaza Tlangwani, who was actually our pharmaceutics lecturer in pharmacy. As I come from the department of, School of Pharmacy, he was sharing about the career in pharmacy. So I listened attentively, not also understanding what he meant, even how it was spelled. The pharmacy is always confused with farming. The spelling start with PH and they always confuse it with F. So I was like that. So I listened, then I got interested, and that's when I started to look for subjects that are actually going to assist me and in being a pharmacy student. And eventually I found them and I landed in our School of Pharmacy, University of Limpopo. I'm very proud to be your our alumni. I must say it was a journey that actually I'm not regretting to this far. When I enrolled, I graduated also, and I started my journey as an intern in Petersburg Hospital. After that, I was registered as a pharmacist, and I have been a pharmacist ever since today. So currently, I am the manager pharmaceutical services, and I'm also the former acting CEO, which is the chief executive officer at Mankweng Hospital, and it is a tertiary and academic hospital where we proud ourselves in also teaching students. I also assist the School of Pharmacy as a part-time lecturer for fourth year students in the management module and also hospital pharmaceutical care module. I have been doing that for quite a number of years, and it gives me so much joy to plow back. It's not about being paid; it's about doing this service in honor of students. So, in my profession, I've been there for many years and serving in very different areas, both in public and private sector, in hospital and wholesale setting. Those were the areas that I chose. And for one reason, I wanted to understand by the time the drugs arrive and so forth, what goes in that. So, of course, there are so many careers that one can follow, but my choices were that in terms of the sector. And I would like to also share that in my experiences as a former acting CEO, I also interacted with many healthcare workers. I had about staff of more than 1,000 staff establishment comprising of clinicians, doctors, training registrars, medical students, and then we have nurses, the allied health services. It was quite a journey, and I just used my BFAM and also the other qualifications that I had. So I would like to say, as I'm the holder of the BFAM degree, I've also done some postgrad to you know, continue to be a continuous learner. As a WHO, the World Health Organization, it outlines the role of the pharmacist as a caregiver, a leader, manager, team worker, a teacher, a lifelong learner, a researcher, a decision maker, an entrepreneur, a communicator in the healthcare system. So I took that and took it upon myself to say, I will further my studies as much as I've got so much responsibilities. I haven't stopped learning. I've actually got the postgrad diploma in HIV/AIDS management. By then, when HIV/AIDS was starting, everybody was scared of it. I decided to learn about it and so that we are able to help patients. I also did the postgrad in hospital pharmacy management, as I've been the pharmacy manager since I graduated. I've never been shying away from taking responsibilities and not missing opportunities. So as soon as I've graduated in my first year after graduation and internship, I was given the opportunity to be the pharmacy manager in the private sector, and I took the opportunity. And I've also coupled that with the diploma to manage pharmacy better and understand all this. So further on, I took the Masters of Science in clinical pharmacy. And currently I'm busy with my PhD with other universities in pharmacy, so that I continue to achieve my dream. One day I'm going to be a professor, as Gloria. That is my ultimate goal. So with that, I've also done some, you know, as a lifelong learner, there are some courses, you attend some courses to build your career as well. You do not just wait for people to empower you, you also develop yourself. I've attended so many courses to make sure that I keep abreast and I keep up to date. And so far, there are so many certificates, and also I still continue to enroll as much as I'm doing the PhD to further my studies. Also, you cannot be a professional and not be able to network, just to make sure that you are relevant with the different associations. Like in conferences of our professions, we do meet, like in SAHIP, which is actually for Hospital Association of Pharmacists, and also in clinical pharmacy. And lately, the MEC of Health, our Dr. Popi Ramathuba, nominated me to be the member of a statutory body, which is our South African Pharmacy Council. I'm serving there. This is my fourth year, where we contribute in making these regulations and making sure that the profession, it keeps to be relevant there. So that is how I've been so far in contributing to this profession that I chose ever since. And in the workplace also, I continued to play a role in the provincial work, where we also we dealt with COVID-19. We have been challenged, and I've been part of the team that was challenged to make sure that the people of Limpopo are also going to be vaccinated. And we have done so well as a province, if you could see our updates. And also there we were led by our MEC to make sure that we achieve all the goals that we were to achieve. I would also like to encourage students to say, as you go through this journey, and you need to realize who you are and start looking into, how can you also sustain yourself. I would like to quote from Mike Murdoch, where he said that you must actually distinguish between what matters the most and what matters the least. So that means you have to stay in the center of what you love most. And he highlighted that very few people have taken the time to find out what really excites, energize, and motivate and you as a person. So that if you can define it for yourself, what is it that is for you, you'll be able to put it in your center and make sure that what you love becomes your second nature, so that you don't feel like you're working. So I don't feel like, as I wake up every day going to work, I'm working. I'm doing what I love, and I'm doing what I chose, and I'm actually also taking it further to say, as I'm understanding that some leaders like Mike Murdoch, he said, understand that sometimes you'll never make these important decisions alone. That's why I'm attending courses to get also information, and also understand what are others doing, our peers outside, and make sure that we keep abreast. So as you also make these things as your journey, make tomorrow bigger than yesterday, and also customize your environment. It helps a lot to make sure that you understand your environment and you keep yourself being motivated in this journey. And you must also look into your passion, protect your passion at all cost. You create this dream for yourself as you enroll until you actually achieve it. So, and you have to have the fighting spirit as well as you keep up your journey, to have this spirit of a finisher. You must finish what you have started as a student. You make sure that at the end you complete, and you still continue to learn and not drop your books after your graduation. It's a challenge that we normally see, that we keep to go back and actually not focus on what we went to school for. So I will say those are my journey, and at the same time, the rewards are many. You get to be rewarded when you get your patient satisfied, and then as a team also we get to be rewarded, and as a person. So I would like to say, Aus Gloria, that is what I can say to the students. And I say That is how my life is, and I'm still continuing. Thank you.
That's TeaYAKA. Wow, what a wonderful audience that is really participating. Thank you for that. Sis Mavis, thank you very much for that. And this is TeaYAKA with Sis Mavis Shibambu. And thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for your journey. Thank you for your story. We will hand over to Sis Tembi, Ms. Tembi Ramacuela, who will introduce herself briefly, what her position is, what her story is, and she will also tell us her story as honestly as she can, because through that, we'll be able to, or our current students will be able to refocus or focus on their current studies and to further develop themselves. System B, over to you, my dear. If you can unmute, mute System B. Uskat lohamu screening, just unmute. We will patiently wait for you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Over to you.
Is it clear?
Very clear, ma'am.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Greetings, colleagues. Greetings, and my colleagues. Thank you, As Gloria, for this opportunity. Thank you, future colleagues. Happy Women's Month. Thank you, says Mavis, for going before me. That's so great. My name is Florence Tembi Ramacuela, ni Maja. When I started the University of Limpopo, I was Maja. I heard about the university because we were fortunate enough to have people who came to our school. I was attending at Lulu Hospital, Lulu School, high school. We had people who came to us and explained about the university. I am an optometrist, and I am so grateful. I qualified from the University of Limpopo. And for optometry, there are only few hospitals in the country. And Limpopo is one of the first that started optometry services in the country. So the reason why I chose the degree, I didn't know anything about the degree, is because when I was doing standard 9, that's your grade 10, I realized that I had problems with my eyes. So I had to go and see an optometrist. That's when I got to learn about optometry. When I got to the University of Limpopo, I wanted to do pharmacy. This Mavis. I wanted to do pharmacy, but I ended up doing optometry because I think when you're applying, there is a certain number of people that is taken. And the other thing is, when you are choosing, optometry was like the second on my list. I did optometry. When I was doing optometry during those years, optometry was, in every university, there is what we call socialization. The socialization of optometry during that time, it was you go to school, you complete, you open a private practice, you run a private practice, and it's like a business, you go into a business mode. So it was like that. And when I completed, I remember I was supposed to open my own private practice because that was the route that everybody was taking. But I never had interest. I never had interest of going into private optometry. Maybe I never had interest in business. I think even the background where I'm coming from, it also made me not really like the business part of optometry. But I loved the health part of optometry. So after completion, by then the MEC for health was Mr. Muloto, who was also a pharmacist. So I approached the Department of Health to say, is it possible for me to start optometry services? Because in the whole country, optometry services was also only in private, nothing in public. So when I went to see our former MEC to say, I want to start the services in public sector, it was well received. And I went to Groote Hospital. That's where I started. There was nothing. That's where I started with optometry services. And I was fortunate enough that he was so interested that he asked me to write something about optometry, to say, okay, you're saying it's more in private. How are you going to use it in public? Well, how are you going to merge it into the public health system? So, you can just imagine fresh from university, having to come up with a plan to incorporate optometry services into public sector. That was a big task for me, but I think I was equal for the task because I did exactly that. I remember when I got my license, I had to drive to Ellisras because I was supposed to travel all hospitals in the province to map out how we are going to run the service, how we are going to incorporate in all those hospitals, and also see the issue of space. Because when I went to present to the MEC, I had everything, put down, how the clinic is supposed to be, the equipment that is required, all of those things. You know, when I went to Elistras, I remember I was told when you get to the T junction, you have to turn to the left, I turned to the right, and I ended up at the border, Botswana border. And for me, it was so interesting that, in the process of doing the situational analysis, I was also able to get to Botswana border. So after that, through the help of the university, we were able to get students from Australia who were at the university. So we traveled to Bush, Mapulaneng region. We're able to see patients there. And that helped me to come up with a statistic to show the higher ups that, this service is really needed in public sector. It was given a blessing. That was in 1998. I'm not trying to disclose my age, but that's how it is. That was in 1998. And we started. The other thing that we're tasked to do was now to go to the university and offer bursaries to all students who were willing to come and work in public sector. We started that. And 2006, I was appointed by the then Minister of Health, Manto Chabalala, to be part of the board, the optometry board, that also assisted me in now going further, taking optometry not only in Limpopo as a pilot, then taking it to all other provinces. From the board, I was also appointed to represent optometry in National Department of Health, starting optometrists in the country. 2007, we hosted the first optometry forum in the country, which was hosted in Limpopo. With the help of the University of Limpopo, we were able to start this. We have a forum now, national, all provinces are part of this. We were able to come up with policies for optometry in the country, come up with guidelines and everything. When OSD was occupation specific dispensation was introduced, Limpopo was used as a what, a model because not all provinces have posts. So starting from 1998, we were able to get creation of posts in the province. We were able to get creation of posts in the country, all the 9 provinces. The only province that don't have posts inside its Western Cape. They're still using the private public partnership, where optometrists are offering services. The other thing that we were able to do, I like using the word we, the other thing that we were able to do was uh, to start a model of shifting the socialization, that as optometrists, we should know that when you complete, it's not only going private. We did that by opening our hospitals, where final year optoms are able to go to our hospitals to see patients. It's in a rotational system. When we started, we were using only Mankweng as a tertiary. But as we go now, we are using 14 hospitals. 14 hospitals that have got equipment, that have got optometrists. Maybe the other thing to say is currently we've got 112 optometrists. In our province, we have 40 hospitals. 37 hospitals are offering eye care services, and we've got optometrists in all these hospitals from nothing 1997 to 115 optoms in all 37 hospitals. We've got 3 ophthalmology hospitals that are offering ophthalmology services. Even in those hospitals, we've got optoms that are assisting. We've got optometrists that are assisting from clinic level. The system that we are using the system of uh, tertiary, assisting the regional district, district going to clinics, clinics going to schools. This is how we are running the service there. This is how optometry students from the University of Limpopo are able to see patients. Coming to opportunities. As an optometrist, there are 2 career ventures that one can take. You can go straight, open your private practice, or you can go to a public sector. While you are in a private, you can either go and also be a lecturer, or you can, as a public optometrist, also go and venture into being a lecturer. Currently, optometry, they've extended our scope. We've got diagnostic and we've got therapeutics. In the past, as optometrists, we're not allowed to use drugs, says Mavis. We're not allowed to use drugs, but currently the scope has been increased. You are able to use drugs for diagnosing and also use drugs for treating. This is where I am now. I've done my therapeutics with the State University of New York. We haven't yet increased the curriculum in the country. We are still using the State University of New York to assist us in getting the therapeutics. And the other thing that our future colleagues can venture into is we have few optometrists that have gone further. Those ones who have concentrated in studying academic. We've got few of them. I think it's also because of the socialization that I spoke about. But currently, we've got many that are qualified. They did their masters in optometry. Others, they did a master's in public health. And there are some that already finished with their doctorate. And I believe that that's another route that others can do. And for me, unfortunately, I'm not in academia. I think that's all. Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you.
Wow, that's quite interesting. You've got a very interesting journey. I must say, Me Tembi Rama Ramacuela. Uh, Now I will take this opportunity. I'm very sure that our students are eager to ask questions to the presenters. They want to know more. So I'll take this opportunity and give it to the students who will want to ask questions. What the students will do is they will introduce themselves, the degree that they are doing, the person the question is directed to, and then pose a question. Um, yeah.
Linda.
Sis Mavis Lee, Sis Tembi, uh, we will take a set of questions before we hand over to you to respond. Please bear with us. Thank you.
Give me my phone. Yours, it was fast. You know, I had to use the mirror. Are you on mute? Mm.
Hello. My name is Angela. I'm a final year optometry student. So I have a question. I hear our alumni talking about Limpopo only in regards of how they have gone in providing eye care services. So I wanted to know, are they trying to communicate with other provinces, provinces like Free State, Northwest, Western Cape, because those provinces, it seems like in the public government hospitals, there's no progress in provision of eye care services. It's only private. So, is there some communication between the provinces, the MECs of health, and how can I go about doing something like you did by approaching the MEC? And also, like I come from Pumalanga. I hope you got to note my question. I won't go further.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Chikara, and I'm a current optometry student at University of Limpopo, and I'm also the current chairperson for the Optometry Student Association. My question is directed to my Florence. I want to ask during your time as like during your time in your career, is there a point where you felt like demotivated during the career, or if there is such a point, what kept you moving in the eye care system? I would like to believe you had struggles also, and maybe you can also share with us that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm DJ Manzini. Thanks to Sis Tembi. I just want to check with you as to what exactly led you to choose the public health sector as while others were choosing the private. I believe they were working into their pockets. What exactly? And let me say, what were the advantages and the disadvantages of that? Thank you.
Afternoon. I'm Fortunate Kosa, and I'm also an optometry student. My question is more similar to what Angela asked. Mama Tembi there stated they managed to incorporate optometry into the public sector, more especially here in Limpopo. Yes, we know we have a lot of optometrists. But then my main question is, what are the main obstacles or hindrances when it comes to other provinces? Because we know in other provinces they have like few optometrists, even one. But here in Limpopo we have a lot. So I want to know, what are the main obstacles that you guys are facing at the moment, and what is it that you're trying uh, um, to sort out this issue? And then when it comes to Mama Mavis, you mentioned your journey from when you immediately graduated as a pharmacist. You became a manager in pharmacy. But then my question is, what are the challenges that you faced? Because I believe in order for you to move from being a student to being a manager, and then from being a manager to being a CEO, there's something in between that you came across. How did you overcome all that to being where you are today?
Okay, this is another question for Sis Mavis. I kind of like it how she was an acting CEO as a woman and she was doing pharmacy and she's not a medical doctor nor a nursing from profession. So I personally thought that if you're like from health sciences, like a dietitian, optometry, you don't literally have the capacity of getting into the shoes of a CEO of a hospital. So I want to know what kind of requirements or what should you incorporate in your work ethic to be considered for CEO.
Are we happy with the questions that were asked? Sis Tembile, Sis Mavis, what other skills did you acquire? Sis Tembi, will start with you. In order to be as brave as you were to go and face an MEC at that tender age, because when you graduate, probably you were not in your 30s, you were not in your 40s, and when you came to university, surely you were not in your 20s, and so on. So over to you, Sis Tembi. We'll go with Sis Tembi first before, and then Sis Mavis will follow.
Greetings again, colleagues. Um, honestly, I sit back and ask myself how it happened, and I don't know. I cannot really explain how it happened. Um, I don't know. But like I said before, I never loved the business part of optometry. So let me start by just, I'll try to answer them one by one, but I'll try with this one, choosing to go public. Like I said, background, I never loved the business part of it. I loved the helping part of it. And what, what, what really made me sad was people that could access optometry services were basically those who had medical aids. And the other thing is, um, I'm from a background, my dad was working for an insurance company. And you'll always tell me about economics, that in our country, 80% of the population is poor, 20% can afford. So I grew up with this thing that 80% of people depend on public sector for services. They depend on the government for services. And only 20% are able to afford things. So because of the background, when I was at school, I was able to go get my glasses because I had a medical aid. My dad had a medical aid. And I had somebody, uh, a former student, who also had eye problems and didn't have a medical aid. That student ended up stealing my spectacles. That's another story. So that's when I realized that it means out of the 80% of people who have eye problems or eye problems, then it means those people cannot access services, if you understand. It's only the 20% that can access services. So even when I went to the university, I always had that thing that 80% of people cannot access services. And you come and look at it. Limpopo has got about a 5 million population. Of the 5 million, 80% cannot access services because Limpopo is rural, 80% is indigent. They get all their services in public, in government hospitals. I think that was the other thing that motivated me to say, I want to work in a hospital. So when I went to the hospital, I was told that no, we don't have that service here. And we don't even have posts. And I was asking, okay, if you are saying this, then people that don't have medical aid, where do they get their spectacles? And I remember the person was like, no, they don't have them. They'll wait for their relatives. I'm like, okay, here I am. I want to offer those services. And that's when I was told there are no posts for optometrists. Then, okay, next step, who can give me a post? And that lady jokingly said, no, you can go to the MEC. And I took it serious. I went to the MEC. They were still here at Hans van Rensburg. I remember when I got there, I was stopped so many times by the securities and I didn't understand the logic because the person told me that the only one who can create posts is an MEC. And I was told where the MEC is. And I think naturally I'm a go-getter, I think. So I waited until I got to see the MEC before they could stop me. I was like the blind man Bartimaeus in the Bible who shouted when they said, don't shout, and said, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. I shouted. So MEC was like, okay, let her come. I went to the office, and that's how it all started. It's like, having uh, the edge, the goal, and the love, compassion, and then pushing. Yes, I was still very young. I was still very young. So that's another story. So the other thing with other provinces, like I said, there are eye services in all provinces because we have ophthalmologists in all other provinces. We have ophthalmic nurses. The only cadre that's not there was optometrist. And like I said in the beginning, that it's only few hospitals that are offering optometry services. And it's another thing that in the public sector, there were no posts. So what we did when I was part of a national eye care team, we meet with different coordinators from different provinces. I had to uh, present how we started in Limpopo and how the services are accessible and how we were able to get the post created. The first thing that we did was when I started, I was appointed in a physiotherapy post. So when they were doing what is it, work study, they call it work study, where they will go and find out if the optometry services can be offered in that institution, in that province. So I know with Mpumalanga, we had optometrists Mapulaneng and Tinswalo. When Mapulaneng and Tinswalo was taken were taken by Mpumalanga, so they were able to continue with the optometry services. Northwest, we have optometrists. KZN, I think they are now almost 36 optometrists. UKZN, they've also started with sending students to hospitals, because you all know that currently HPCSA is required, it's expected you to go private. I mean, to go hospitals and see patients and qualifying the quota. You call it, yeah, the quota, the number of the 600 hours that you are supposed to do. So many provinces are now opening up. KZN has opened up. Gauteng, they are there. They are optometrists. The system is just not as Limpopo. Eastern Cape, they are. Northern Cape, there are. I know of one. It's only Western Cape that they are still using the private public system. My colleague who questioned me about demotivation. Many times, those who worked with me, they know there are many times that I'll say, like, I'm going to resign. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. But with public sector, what I've realized about it is you need to die. You die to self. It's not about you anymore. It's about the people that you're saving. It's about the 80% that I told you about. That you realize that if I'm living because things are not right, then it means this thing is going to die. Because those ones that are coming behind, they still need motivation. Let's rally together. Let's run. Let's push. That's the talk. You push because it's funny because we've got Sis Mavis. She told us that she was the CEO. You won't believe it that when she was the CEO, I think I've never met with her, because it's a long list of people that are we reporting to before getting to the CEO. So that's when you realize that when you are demotivated, the CEO doesn't know that we have a problem, because there is someone that you are reporting to, and that someone is reporting to someone. There are about 10 people before you get to the CEO, who's the head of the institution. So when you get demotivated, when you experience a stumbling block with the first line of defense, then it means you'll never get anywhere. So you learn to push. You learn to wait for opportunities. You learn to scream when there is time to scream. When they say there is time for budget, you look around those ones that have been doing it, bosses maybe for a long time. Professions that have been there. To say, no, they say they want a business plan. What is that? And then you learn from them. You go and do. They say there are people that are coming called Kosasa. What is that? They tell you, you go down and work on your profession until you become at par with others, and then you get that satisfaction that at least I've done something. I think I've covered all. Incorporating optometry in the province. Yeah, I think all other provinces now are hiring. Yeah, they are recruiting, because I know Northwest, they've sent students to KZN. They've given them bursaries, and those students, when they complete, they are going to be they're going to work there to serve their contract. It's usually 4 years, but what I've realized is after 4 years, many people no longer want to go. I think I've answered. Thank you.
Okay, it's my turn now. How's Gloria? I had two questions from the floor. Just to answer to the questions in terms of being a pharmacy manager from, after internship or my first year as a pharmacist or second year. It was a privilege and honor for me to be recognized in a private sector, which was a private hospital. And at the same time, when they have recruited me like that, they always have structures in place which will assist you to actually be mentored and grow and be the leader that you have to be in line with what is required. So you must always be available yourself for these opportunities and not say, I do not have an experience. You must take your degree. I would like to encourage you with these words also, because I also listened to Oprah Winfrey as she was addressing students who were qualifying. She just said these words, which I want you to also note. She said, your degree is a privilege and it obligates you to use what you have learned to help someone. Use your gifts. It is time for you to rise. Make choices every day and be the truth. Obviously, you can't fix everything, but at least fix something and take a stand. What are you willing to stand for? Put your honor where your mouth is. When you give it your words, keep to it, do it, get dirty, show up, and build your legacy from everything, not one thing. Your legacy is everything life you touch. So, what I mean with these words, I'm saying you have your degree, you have graduated, opportunities are coming your way. You choose your opportunities according to what you actually prefer and what is your passion. With that, you must be mindful that what you choose, it must be what you love. So if you are in this profession, and also with our other colleagues in other degrees and profession, it's about the patient. So if you put the center as a patient, there's nothing that we cannot actually do, because we are trained to say we take care of patients. As you go into the training, there's always that person that you must die for, as Tembi saying. So the service delivery is what will actually assist you to say, why did you go and actually enroll for this degree? So for me, it was very easy. I took upon that opportunity in a private where it was like a profit making business. They took that risk and say, for a young lady, young woman who's energetic, who's willing, who came through and being interviewed and shown interest, we are going to be that team. So you're going to be assisted by others. You're going to be that team that will take care by hand. And I've never regretted. I've enjoyed that very much. So I can even give you what they have rewarded me, the certificate of appreciation in that first year, because you work with the team and you learn as you grow, and you recognize who are the people to assist you, who are the stakeholders that you have to work on. Keep on learning, and keep on showing your face where you need to show off it. And at the same time, know what you are to deliver. Learn also the work. You must be able to say, I am open for everything that I need to go through, and also make sure that you understand that culture and the organization as a whole. So that assisted me to also use that when I came back to public sector. When I came back also, the public sector has got many patients, but at the same time, you focus. What I will assist you is your focus, and hard work does not kill. You have to work for what you want to achieve. I don't know of any sleep that will pay you, but you know that how you got your degree, you're focused on what you need to study and so forth. It applies also in the workplace. So in a team, you recognize also your team member, and you need to become a leader. As I said, that in our role, there's no way that you cannot be a leader. By virtue of graduating, you'll find that you are leading people that are actually your support personnel. So you cannot say, I'm just having a degree, I do not know this. Your training is actually making you ready to actually absorb anything that comes your way. So there was a question also about the acting CEO position. So that is a leadership and management role playing that we are to also recognize as we train. As I said with my statement and quote from WHO, it tells you that you have to be a leader. So leadership in healthcare system, do not limit yourself to only what you studied. It depends on what you have as a capacity as well. And patient care starts also from the whole entity of saying in an organization that serves patients, you cannot exclude yourself. So what I did there, I was recognized by the MEC for Health, Dr. Poppy Ramatuba, who appointed me being a pharmacy manager to say, come and lead. And I appreciated that opportunity. It made my experience so wide. And at the same time, if you love patients, you will understand that if you are in that pharmacy, every patient who comes in that organization, whether the patient will be admitted or the patient will be going home or visiting our outpatients, they are not coming for any other thing. If there are no medicine, for sure you would hear the news that there are no medicines. So every patient that gets in is actually a patient that must be serviced by a pharmacist. So that also, if you take it further and say, what is the role of the CEO, is to make sure that all the patients are well taken care of. So the difference is I will be engaging other stakeholders that are not necessarily pharmacists only. You work with nurses, you understand what is in their profession, their colleague. And with our code of conduct, it says you have to work well with other healthcare workers for the public again. So when you look into what nursing is actually doing, there's no way that you can put a pharmacist and you don't put a nurse next to that pharmacist. It does not work, that formula. You need to recognize your stakeholders. Where you have doctors as well, there's no patient that can come to us without a patient a prescription which is written by a doctor. So that in itself gives you a relationship that we have in terms of professional relationship. That also builds towards when you manage them. You understand their work already, you understand the nurses' work, you have worked with them, you know that they're always having a patient next to you and a patient will be needing medicines. So that assists a lot. So when you look into what are their needs and also their planning, you will understand how a ward operates. If we're in a hospital, we are having beds to look after, we are having patients to look after. So if a patient comes to a tertiary, you understand that the tertiary is a high referral center. Every patient who is not being treated at some point will be referred to our tertiary, and we should be ready. So that also, being a pharmacist, assists you to always be ready for any patient who comes your way, irrespective of any diagnosis. You have to make sure that you deal with that situation. So our training also takes us there to say, be ready to solve the problem. If you cannot solve the problem with the patient, you solve the problem with the doctor and any other healthcare work. So if you look into all this staffing that we are to manage and also how to assist, all of us, we contribute towards patient care, be it a professional like a porter or finance person, HR person. You deal with mortuaries, you deal with all the laundry issues. That in itself assists you to say, if they understand the role that they have to play in making a patient better, as a CEO, you cannot say you lack. So those are my experiences in terms of the question as to what are the requirements and the ethics. It requires you to be, qualified in terms of, health, any health related qualification degree. It is a requirement. It does not say be a medical doctor. So you can as well, if you love managing people and you love to work with people in a very large scale, you can go for it. It's not going to harm you. It's going to actually assist you to well take care of patient in a very broader manner, and understand that you need pharmacological effects and you also need non-pharmacological effects to assist the patient. When I refer to non-pharmacological approaches, I'm referring to where you need to use your machines, your diagnosis, all those things that will be required to take care of a patient. So I felt that I did not lack, and I did very well. If you recall, Mankweng was the first hospital during that era when it actually did perform an operation in a cardiothoracic unit of open heart surgery. I was the leader by that time, assisted by the clinical manager. And those were world news. You can Google it, you'll find me there. And even during that era system, we have launched your what you have been talking about. You need to be supported by managers who understand the professionals as well. How's Tembi launched her project in terms of this optometry that she outlined for the whole province. And that was supported by also my office, where we have also rolled it out to other areas where now a patient can be diagnosed and be treated and be given spectacles, and they cut them there. They don't have to wait any longer. They do just that. So you must just understand that you must love what you do and enjoy what you do. Make it your life. You don't have to say it's 8 hours, it's after hours. You have to understand that it is a calling. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Those are encouraging stories. Those are stories that would propel any other person who would think any other way to continue where they are. The nurses, the future pharmacists, the dietitians, the optometrists, the doctors, medical doctors who are in this house. System called you her future colleagues and not students. Let's give that another round of applause. That's TeaYAKA with my faculty alumni, and from your faculty was Sis Mavis Shibambu and Sis Tembi Ramacuela. Congratulations to you, ladies, and may God abundantly bless you in your respective journeys. May you also continue to grow into who God wills for you. Thank you very much. I'm handing over to Miss Maboja to close this, this event.
Thank you, Sis Kihilwe. Sis Mavis and Sis Tembi, I would like to thank you for honoring the call when the SRC called. I would also like to thank the students who are with us here for abandoning some of their duties to come and listen to you. We really appreciate, and we are looking forward to continuing having this kind of conversations. Someone out there might be watching, and your words might touch them and encourage them to continue doing whatever
Oh,
that
we
they're
can't
doing.
hear. Yes, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Once again, Sis Mavis and Sis Tembi, allow me to thank you for honoring the call when the SRC of University of Limpopo called you to come and speak with our students. And also allow me to thank the students who are with us in the midst of this program for having abandoned some of their duties to come and listen to you and gaining some knowledge. It is conversations that we would wish to continue having in the near future. One of As we are speaking now, someone might be listening outside who is not even a student but busy with something somewhere else. And your words of encouragement might touch them and give them courage to continue. Thank you.
Last parting word, a minute to use Sis Mavis and a minute to use Sis Tembi. Just parting words, and thank you once more for coming. I know that you are one of the alumni office normally depends on. Thank you for being there again. And please know that we are going to continue this. And I know that you are never going to shun them, the students, when they do come to you, or your future colleagues when they do come to you after this talk. We are going to communicate with you through email to see how we can further forge this relationship that you have started with the students within the Faculty of Health Sciences. A parting word from you, Sis Mavis, a minute, and a parting word from you, Sis Tembi, for a minute only.
Thank you, Sis Gloria and SRC. I must say this is an honor, and also the students. I'm really privileged to be amongst you because I do really love this moment, as I'm always surrounded by students from our School of Pharmacy. It is good now that we are enlarging our territory and putting others in. I would also like to say to SRC, I am a product which was actually helped by our SRC. Keep on helping the students. We were not going to be where we were if it was not SRC. I would like you to note that I come from a Premier Makura's era. For sure, you know who I'm talking about, David. He used to really do it for us there, and I'll never forget where we come from. So, students, you're welcome. And from now onwards, you are actually going to be our colleagues. We are welcome to come to Mangweng anytime. Thank you very much.
Uh, Thank you very much, colleagues. It's an honor, really, to be speaking to you. What I can say to you, ladies, it's there are times when, as women, we are expected to take a back seat, and as a professional, you are expected to take a back seat. But what I want to tell you is, even if you take a back seat, one day that back seat is going to, spit you out. Because if your destiny has been written, you can't sit back. That destiny will find you. And the other thing is, I like quoting scriptures. God said, I knew you even before you were formed, even before you were conceived. God knew you. And whatever challenge that you experience in your studies, you must know that that challenge was not there to break you. It was there to build you. That challenge was there to make you a woman who will be able to stand even when it gets tougher. I don't want to scare you, but the world outside, it's no longer like the way it was. Things have changed. Our country is going through a lot. And this one requires in a workplace, at home, our society, and our country as large. So we need to go out with a plan to make a change, with a plan to say, if I see a wrong, I'm not going to allow it. And you go and say, not under my watch. I'm going to do everything in my power to correct whatever wrong that it is. Because our forefathers are gone. Some of us, our parents are gone. We are the future, and our children are going to learn from us. So we need to go out knowing that we're not only professionals just because we're going there to get a paycheck. Let that be your calling. Do it as doing it unto God, and see how you'll be rewarded. Thank you.
Thank you. That's how we part and close this TeaYAKA.
Oh, we can't hear you, Sis Glory.
Thank you. This is how
Yes.
we part and end the TeaYAKA with you the alumni from the Faculty of Health Sciences, Sis Tembi, Sis Mavis, bravo to you. Continue to do the good work, and thank you once more. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You made my day.
Thank you.